So to start at our conference, I want to introduce our first speaker, and his name is Ethelbert Williams, and I'm glad I got to meet him and get the correct pronunciation before he actually came up to the stage. And what I really find dynamic about today's speakers is that I think that InnoCause did a really great job in choosing them, because each one kind of builds up to a crescendo of ideas today. And so I think we should just sit back and kind of enjoy the symphony of speakers, so to speak, and wait for that crescendo to happen. But Ethelbert is the head of marketing for a company called Total Beauty Media Group. And I did my homework and my research, being a good ex-L'Oreal student, always doing my work right. He has a background also with L'Oreal Paris, and he also has a background with Procter & Gamble, similar to me. His accomplishments are actually quite amazing for a young man. He's worked on the Axe beauty brand for Unilever, and has also driven marketing and communications planning for a range of global beauty brands. He leads trade marketing network audience growth and distribution opportunities at the Total Beauty Media Group. And so what I think is really fascinating is that I think Ethelbert is going to be able to share some interesting ideas with us today about networking audience growth for our brands and our concepts and our companies. So his presentation today is Get Your Brand Added to Her Shopping Cart, which I'm fascinated to find out about, because I think we all love the idea of social media. I know we all are Facebook freaks nowadays and Twitter freaks. I mean, who knew, right, that it was going to be like this 10 years ago? I remember Star Trek, frankly, and I never thought I'd have a cell phone in my lifetime, but look what we live with now. So I'm anxious to hear what Ethelbert has to say about this and how women research products online to prepare for their shopping trip at the store. So let's welcome him to the stage. My pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you for that kind introduction, Brian. Good afternoon. I'm Ethelbert Williams, head of marketing from Total Beauty Media Group. I'm visiting New York from Santa Monica, and I'm so glad the weather has cooled off. I'm not originally from Southern California, but I'm enjoying the weather there. I'm so excited to be here the next couple days because it's about innovation in a category I know we are all so passionate about. Over the next couple days, I know you'll have the opportunity to hear from leaders from L'Oreal, Aveda, Colgate, Palmolive, Benefit Cosmetics, and many others. My goal over the next few minutes is to provide, I'm just doing a time check. Are we okay on time? Okay, great, thank you. Over the next few minutes is to provide a primer for how women are researching and making certain shopping decisions, leveraging online and mobile media. Leading into this event, we commissioned a couple key studies, which I'll talk about, where we spoke to over 1,200 women to share some of the insights I'll go through with you guys today. Before we get into some of the detail, if I could see a raise of hands, how many of you over the last day bought something online or on your phone? A plane ticket, pair of shoes, anything? Okay, great. So it's quite a bit of you. Well, that's no surprise. When we think about what she's up to, and I'm talking about sort of this persona of this sort of beauty-involved consumer who's seeking the best and brightest solutions, what's so interesting is when I started my career over a decade ago, it was sort of a fight. I started my career at Procter & Gamble. It was a fight to get that Olay.com URL on a print ad or in a television spot. It was always, what is that real estate? What does it mean for us? Is it about credentialing? Is it about having an opportunity to carry additional conversations with her? Is it about her requesting samples or looking for incentives? Well, right now, that conversation is a little easier because of these numbers. Last year, Americans spent $200 billion online. That number is going to continue to explode. It's probably no surprise. By 2016, it's going to be over $327 billion spent online. When we think about women specifically, a quarter of women shopped online in the past day. I don't know about you guys, but these are tremendous numbers as marketers and folks focused on innovation. This is an incredible transformation over the last decade, and it's pretty exciting. When we think about beauty specifically, what are women doing online? This number is for beauty specifically. When we talk to these women and commissioning the work moving into this conference, we found women spending up to 20 minutes online researching products before their next shopping trip. As I like to say, that's that moment of intent, right? That's about getting on her shopping list. And we'll talk a little bit more later as to what these women are doing over those 20 minutes, which is a significant amount of time. We're talking about a very complex category. I know we all live and breathe beauty like Brian. We love this category. We're all in it. But if we take a step back, this is a category that introduces over 3,600 products a year. On TotalBeauty.com, one of our properties, which is sort of a CNET or WebMD of beauty, we have hundreds of thousands of product reviews over the last 4 years, over 45,000 products. We're talking about a very complex category. 10 years ago, do we have any Club Warehouse shoppers, folks who shop at Costco, Sam's, or BJ's? Those who, I don't think there's one in Manhattan yet, so those that are in New York are probably being deprived. But you know, over a decade ago, as beauty started to explode into Costco, we were talking about a couple palettes that were really assigned to beauty. For those who have been into Costco recently, you have an entire aisle of products to choose from. The reason that that's significant is Costco, if you think about Warehouse Club, that whole strategy is about simplification, right? It's about simple selection at obviously Warehouse Club value. But still today, a concept that where that holds true is still pretty complex. So we're talking about a very complex category still. So what is she looking for as she's spending those 20 minutes researching online for this category specifically? And my goal is to give you some ideas for how to intercept her in a way that's relevant to get your brand, your business added to her shopping list so you can win her over. Her online mindset. We're talking about a woman today, this sort of digital native, as I call her, who's spending 20 minutes researching online. Well, what is she doing? Well, she has the opportunity to post to her social network a question that she has. Maybe it's, you know, what is the best dandruff shampoo, or what do you think about this mascara? She has the opportunity to put into a search field, you know, what's the best rated product in this category? And obviously, she has the opportunity to look at a range of different review and retailer sites to see what's working and not working, and what other consumers are saying. 20 minutes alone just spent understanding what will work for her before she even decides to make a decision. Sort of in that next step in that purchase journey, that sort of buy it, try it mentality. How many of us love to get samples? I see there's some Aveda samples in front of you on your table. Well, she does too. And this is really about, as she's researching and trying to figure out what works for her, what are ways that brands can really entice her, right? Or get on her shopping list. So it's things like, you know, can you offer her a sample? Can you offer her a coupon or other incentive? Some way for you to become a preferred product for her out of the 3,600 plus that she's going to see and understand during the course of the year. And the last piece is conversation. Many of us have learned through the businesses that we are building that it's not just important to get a product in a consumer's hands, but it's important for her to review it and for her to tell her friends about it. That's how this cycle continues. She's not gonna find you in reviews if you're not curating reviews. So it's how you impact her and get her to share and talk about the product, rate the product well, and hopefully sort of have a positive light with her. I spent a couple years of my career after I left consumer products working in mobile, and it was important for me. I loved consumer products. I spent 8 years working for P&G, L'Oreal, and Unilever, but I decided because of what I saw in a shift for how women were shopping and the way that they were engaging with digital media and really where we were spending our money, there was an opportunity to really understand and work with leaders in the space that were interested in really connecting that physical and digital world. It's not one or the other. So I think a lot of the things you'll hear over the next couple of days, it's not really about, you know, she's shopping in these channels. We're talking about a category that not only is it complex from a SKU standpoint, but it's also complex in how women choose to shop, whether it be from value to high street, or anything else. Women are looking across categories to figure out sort of what's right for them and looking across channels. So leading into this conference, one of the things that we did is we did a subset of our research really focused on an immersion into mobile and how women are leveraging mobile to research as well as aid their real world shopping experiences. And what we found was extremely exciting and surprising. So a couple primers. You know, first, what are women doing on mobile devices these days? So first of all, a quarter of time spent leisure time rather, is actually spent on mobile devices. This is including things like commuting, cleaning, chores, working, eating, meeting friends. This is time beyond just talking on the phone. I don't know how many of us still talk on phones. It's still pretty relevant. I do. But there's lots of other things, obviously, we can do on phones, and we'll talk about that, including how it really aids consumers through shopping. 50% of the consumers we spoke to spent over 2 hours of their leisure time on mobile devices. We'll talk generally about women, then I want to talk a little bit about millennials, because I think these are the power users that have a lot of things to add when it comes to carrying a brand's message throughout mobile. Before I get to the next slide, I want to do a PSA, if you guys don't mind, for me. I'm going to talk a little bit about multitasking and what women are doing via mobile. Raise your right hands for me, please. If you could repeat, I will not text while driving. Keep your hands up, please. I will not apply makeup while driving. I can't hear you. Okay. Very cool. Well, I live in LA. These are really important things. Multitasking masters. These women are tremendous at doing things in addition to mobile. 90% of respondents engage in other activities while leveraging their mobile devices. The reason this is important, and we'll get into retail specifically in a second, because I think a lot of us are interested in a dynamic which is showrooming, women coming into stores or at the counter being well informed. 18% of consumers are watching TV while leveraging their mobile devices, and I'm talking all mobile devices, smartphones as well as tablets. 13% are listening to music, 12% are cooking, 12% are commuting. Again, hopefully these are the consumers that aren't texting and driving or doing other things. You'd be surprised some of the things I've heard as we talk to these women and sort of got inside their lifestyles. 12% are checking in. Maybe some of you have checked in today into the conference or the hotel, and 8% are exercising. These are US numbers. Yeah, these are US numbers. We talked a little about shopping overall. How many of you in the last day have actually purchased something on a mobile device or tablet device? Yeah, so a few, absolutely. More than 60% of women have shopped on mobile and tablet devices. That's a pretty exciting number for for brands that are looking for opportunities to really intercept her and be relevant. But I'm not just going to talk about commerce, because it's still a little bit hard to, for many different reasons we can get into and have sidebar conversations to get consumers to transact specifically within the category that we're interested in, beauty and personal care on mobile devices. But to me, what's most interesting is more than half of women have used mobile devices to aid with in-store purchase decisions. So these are the women that are walking into store, again, with that sort of unlimited information, whether it be reviews, ratings, ingredients. Again, maybe they want to pose a real-time question to their friends. They're looking to make that specific decision at shelf, and they're looking to that trusted screen that might as well be implanted in her arm for feedback and advice. And some of this might be in lieu to walking to the counter and asking someone, or asking a drugstore clerk, or anyone else that might be within that environment. Mobile has become sort of that trusted source, that screen that she's looking to get that real-time feedback. Sort of building along some of the insights that I'd mentioned around sort of desktop, a quarter of women use mobile devices to find coupons while they're shopping. I know many of us work on brands that aren't really into discounting, so I'll remove the word coupon and look at more sort of incentives. What are things that you can do to entice her? This number to me is very specific and offers a call to action for brands. This number says to me you have a quarter of consumers at shelf within the beauty category looking for an incentive to prefer your brand. So what is that incentive you're going to give her? Maybe you give her the opportunity to request a sample. Maybe you do give her a coupon. Maybe you give her a piece of content or something else that's candy to her, that has her preferring your brand. So you're not just on her shopping list, but you're in her shopping basket and she's checking you out. I want to drill down a little bit into millennials. And this is a fun topic because I've worked with this consumer for several years at Unilever. Millennials are the power users when it comes to this technology. And millennials might not be relevant for your business depending on who you're targeting, but I do want to talk a little bit about millennials and their use of some of the technology, because as you can imagine, they're early adopters and power users. More than 60% of millennials spend over an hour of their leisure time on mobile devices. That's pretty significant. And again, this is outside of talking. This is doing all of the things that we've mentioned before. 1 in 10 women who are millennials spends 2 to 4 hours a day social networking. For any of us who have young daughters at home or nieces, that's a little bit of an annoying number, right? Because you probably would expect them to be doing other things. But again, they're multitasking, and this is a very important medium for them to connect, to engage, and to learn what works for them and doesn't work. Compared to the general pool that we spoke to for this study, compared to 60% of general women looking at mobile as a shopping medium, 73% of millennials shop on their devices. That's a huge majority. 75% of millennials use their mobile devices in-store to help them make a purchase, compared to about 60%. Of the general women that I had mentioned earlier. Again, a sign that these are consumers. If relevant to you, this is a vehicle that shouldn't be ignored. It should really be explored to figure out how you can really intercept her, deliver a relevant message, and win her business, which is pretty exciting. That kind of wraps it up for me, sort of in this primer. I have lots of other fun things to drill down. I know we had limited time, but here's my contact information, ewilliams@totalbeauty.com, if you want to be in touch and want to get the full report and details around the study that we commissioned. Total Beauty, we are one of the leading online digital beauty health properties. We own 4 different properties, totalbeauty.com, which is sort of the WebMD or CNET of beauty, as I mentioned. It's a consumer review-driven site with hundreds of thousands of product reviews. Last year, we reached 160 consumers across our properties, including Total Beauty, Beauty Riot, Lime Life, and Modern Man. And before we get into I have a short sizzle video to sort of wrap up. Are there any questions or anything I can address for you guys? Yes, Brian.
Always a question.
Absolutely.
What was, you referred to women who use mobile devices at the very beginning, and I didn't catch the term. Can you remember what that was?
Well, I probably use the term showrooming.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's vernacular that, if any of us are in the retail space, definitely know. This is the consumer. If, I love Best Buy. This is the consumer that loves to go into Best Buy because they have an amazing assortment. They'll compare, they'll try out that TV set, and then they'll go to Amazon and buy it. The whole context is, how do you win over her business when you're in store? What is your role as a brand or a retailer within that channel to aid her decision, to aid the medium that she's already using, and make sure you capture her transaction? And so showrooming is when she comes in, she compares, she might try, but then she leaves and she goes elsewhere for the business.
Anyone else? Any questions? Come over. Well, you look like you could extend, but we'll help you out.
Okay. I was just wondering, do you see any differences in the behavior regarding beauty and cosmetics and regarding the general other stuff? And anything what you would recommend in this context to us to pay special attention to?
Yeah, so beauty, that's a great question. We definitely look not just at consumers are shopping within beauty. And beauty, we look at a range of different categories and a range of different price points. And what's interesting, there's a couple beauty categories that are growing tremendously when it comes to online. So online is now a top 3 purchase channel for both skincare and color cosmetics. For those of you who play within those categories within your businesses, that's probably no surprise to you. And I think it's specifically because those are 2 categories that are very much driven by innovation, if you think about it. Those are categories that have a lot of innovation windows to be competitive. And from just, quite frankly, when it comes to sampling and the products that we talk about, those are some of the most fun categories that women are involved in.
Interesting.
My question is around maybe it's the old behavior was you went to the department store and you tried the makeup on and you kind of got a hands-on attention from somebody. And with this, it seems like that step may be missing, or what are they doing to actually select the new cosmetics that may help us in understanding how we need to sell to them?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, you know, that physical experience is always going to be relevant because consumers, we do know within this categories, consumers like to try things. They like to experience things. We're talking about a very experiential category. And so that's why the story is that physical real world experience will never go away. But I think for brands, the way you really augment and aid her, things like, are you curating reviews so she can find you? She's gonna search for you. If you're a new brand and you're at shelf, she's gonna get on her phone and she's gonna put your brand name in or that specific SKU to see how it's rated, what other consumers are saying, and get that feedback. In addition, again, we work in a very complex category, some more than others, you know, color, skin, very complex SKU lineups, very complex to figure out what's right for you. Anything that you can do and aid her via digital, whether it be profilers for your skin, profilers for your hair, anything to help her find easily and quickly what's the right solution within your lineup, you're gonna win for sure.
This way everyone can hear you and it records appropriately.
I want to know how much research is done through bloggers. How much do they go into blogging? Like looking at bloggers and what they post on different products.
Yeah, absolutely. So we personally, within our publishing group, we have a great blogger network and relationship. So our community team is constantly in touch with bloggers, and also on TotalBeauty.com, we have a community as well. And so we're constantly mining that information for data. And for anyone out there that may not have extensive research resources, that's something we offer and service our partners as for free. So we're constantly, a lot of the research that we've talked about and we commission for this conference, that's part of the work that we do as thought leaders and to add value to the community. But so we are in touch with bloggers for sure, and if there's anything that you're specifically interested in, I can potentially help you.
Okay, that's one part, which is great to know because there is stuff that I'm interested in. But what I'd like to know from the consumer side, so consumers who are shopping and they're using the mobile devices, are they going more so to the Sephora's, the Ultas, you know, those kind of sites for stuff, and then to the, you know,
Gotcha.
to the L'Oreal site or the Avon site or Lauder site, or are they checking out bloggers and what they're saying and what they're touting as like the coolest new product to like use?
That's a fantastic question. So we all know the bloggers and the haulers, right, who are on YouTube showcasing their haul and showcasing their looks with our products. All of those are relevant channels and very important. And I think, you know, beyond the ones that are key personalities, I mean, there's celebrities within this space, right? At the end of the day, when it comes to research and findability, I'm talking about search. I'm talking about a consumer being able to type in your brand's name and see whatever pops up, whether it's on a beauty editorial website, whether it's a peer-to-peer consumer site like Total Beauty, or whether it's a hauler video that comes up on YouTube. All of those touch points that brands can curate and make sure that they're elevated, extremely relevant for sure.
You know, I have a question about Modern Man.
Yeah,
I know I have 18 employees, 16 are women and 2 are men who are both metrosexuals, straight and metrosexual. And they both are addicted to looking at Modern Man too. And can you just give us a little like thumbnail idea of how men are working with mobile devices and the internet right now?
Yeah, absolutely. So Modern Man is a men's interest property. It's a top 6 men's interest destination that we launched a couple years ago in partnership with a company called Break Media. And Kai Henderson, our editor-in-chief, is phenomenal. He was actually the male voice of Cosmo. It's a site that offers a range of different editorial content for guys from love, sex, grooming, technology, automotive, finance. When it comes to men, I have to be honest, we're doing a lot of research related to men. Men aren't as responsive as women when it comes to a lot of the research and things that we really sort of want to get inside
What a
their
shock,
DNA
right, ladies?
and their persona. And so if you'll allow me, I'll sort of leave that as a part 2 if I get the opportunity to come back or contribute to the community as to what we've learned about men. But that's actually work that's actually part of the second half of this year for us to get inside more of their mindset and share that back out with the community.
All right, well, thank you very much.
Okay.
Let's give him a round of applause.
And we actually have a quick video,
the video
that Bruce will kick off for me, and that'll just wrap it up. Thank you, guys.
Hi, I'm Ana Jimenez with the web's #1 beauty site, TotalBeauty.com. 12 million women That's how many we reach across all of our web properties. That's 8 times bigger than Glamour, 12 times bigger than Allure. We're known for our unflinching honesty about beauty products. Our unbiased reviews are breaking the taboos since traditional beauty publications never say anything negative. We tell you what beauty products work and what don't, and that's what makes us a leader. Not only do 12 million readers trust us, but the beauty experts are on board with us too. Most of the world's top beauty talent is just one phone call away, and Total Beauty's expert panel is like the who's who of the beauty industry. Among them, Ted Gibson, Dr. Howard Murad, Nelson Chan, and of course, Frederick Fekkai.
You know, beauty can be very confusing. This is why I think it's so fantastic to have TotalBeauty.com.
And the word about Total Beauty is really starting to spread.
And we're bringing back the hottest trend in hair right now, the braid. To help us, we've got TotalBeauty.com.
TotalBeauty.com is going to fill us in on all the fun buys from your local drugstore, beauty products, and all that good stuff.
Plus, we've been producing high-quality video content for the last 4 years. Take a look at what we've done. Highly produced, hosted series featuring beauty experts and real women.
Your summer beauty solution is to not wear makeup because it melts off your face.
Detailed how-to videos featuring beauty pros breaking it down.
One of my favorite faces to do is Victoria Beckham, and I'm going to teach you how to get that look.
Unbiased beauty product reviews straight from our team of beauty editors.
Women love this thing. Oh, ow. Oh.
And engaging content with product placement integration. Thanks for taking the time to get to know the web's most visited beauty site, TotalBeauty.com, reaching 12 million women each month through our websites, plus social media, email newsletters, TV appearances, a network of beauty bloggers, and much more. See you next time.
So let's give